Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the 13th Dimension. And tonight we have a special guest. She is a member of Things of Illinois. Her name is Kate. Welcome, Kate.
Everyone. So much for asking me to be on your show, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. That's so kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you could make it, especially on such really short notice.
No problem. No problem at all. Just really happy to be here. And yeah, let's talk about some ghosty stuff.
Talk stuff. Well, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I think this heat is relentless. But yeah, I'm more of a autumn, winter, spring person. I really suffer in the summer with hot weather. But yeah.
Well, I can tell you this: Chicago can get slammed with some brutal winters up there.
Yeah, I don't know why. I prefer winter. I feel like I have more energy and I like snow, albeit there is a lot of snow. But yeah, I really like winter.
Well, it probably has something to do with where you're originally from because you're way much north, further north than any of us are.
Yeah, so I'm originally from the UK, more specifically England, a kind of small city, I guess, Norwich. Um, and yeah, it was never this hot. I think the highest temperatures when I lived there, from the age of when I was born till 20, I think 21 or 22. I can't remember how old I was now. I think I was 22 when I left the UK. Um, and I'm 34 now, just context. I think I think the highest was like 31, but that's not Fahrenheit, that's degrees centigrade. I
30,
don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
okay, I just looked that up 31 Celsius, so that is almost 88 degrees Fahrenheit here.
Yeah. So that would be kind of like maximum heat growing up. Like 32, 33 was kind of unheard of, and English houses are not built for hot weather. We have carpets, radiators, you know, it's very cozy. we're not built for heat. We don't have aircon like everyone has in the US.
Actually, I kind of envy you guys because I don't do very well in the heat either. Uh,
Mm,
so I prefer the cooler, colder climate. So
yeah.
I love winter times around here. I just don't like being on the road during the winter time.
Yeah, that's true. I can imagine it's really, really stressful. I can't imagine driving when the weather's so bad.
It can be, especially when you have almost 10 miles of nothing but a sheet of ice to drive on.
Yeah, no.
That's happened a couple times. And
Yeah,
you guys will probably end up getting that too, uh,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say I'm more accustomed to colder, more stable weather, not the extremes like here in Chicago. It's very extreme. But yeah,
That and plus you probably have cleaner air back there too.
I think so. Yeah, I think so because Norwich is kind of on the closer to the coast, so
Yeah.
get kind of sea air at some point. So yeah.
So since you did bring that up, um, your husband, he's originally from Italy.
He is, yeah, he's Italian. Yeah.
Okay. So one, how did you guys meet up? And
Mm,
two, how did you end up going from the UK to Italy? I'm guessing because of him, uh,
yeah.
and then coming over here.
Yeah, it's quite a long story and a long road, but
We have an hour.
yes, we oh gosh, it's such a long time ago now. I'm using all of my brain cells to like remember all of this. Um
She's getting old, everybody.
I am getting old. Just want to say hi to Chantel and Charles. How are you guys?
You tell. I hope you're doing really, really well. I saw your video about the horse. That is excellent news.
Exciting. Yeah. So we met, I think I was 22, so it's like 12 years, was it? I think I was 21 actually. I can't remember. It's 12 or 13 years ago. And he was in London, staying with a friend who was going to university in London. And I was in London. And we just met by chance, really. Kind of got to know each other, exchanged numbers, just kind of got talking. And then I went to visit him at some point, like several months later. And we just kind of were like, oh, I guess this is a relationship then. And then when I graduated, I was doing like part of a master's degree, and I got my teaching qualification because I was training to be a music teacher in high schools over in the UK. So I would have been, the path after that is to go straight into secondary schools and start teaching music as a subject, maybe a subject as well. But when I finished all my qualifications, I just thought, is this going to be my life now? Am I just going to stay in the UK and teach in a secondary school like forever? And there were many things going on with schools in the UK back then, political things, and I was like, oh, do I really want to be in this system? You know, I'm just doing it for the kids, really. I don't want to get into the whole political side of it and all that kind of stuff. So I got a job in Spain teaching English. So I was just like, you know what? Spain is closer to Italy.
So you're going to Spain now.
I did.
Wow.
I lived in Spain for 6 months in a very small town, very, very small town, about 2 hours from Barcelona. And they didn't even speak Spanish, really. It was Catalan. So it was kind of a dialect of Spanish. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I really, really liked it there.
While you were there in Spain, did you, if it's in the same time frame, did you get to go see the running of the bulls?
No, I wasn't really into that. I did, like, there's a lot of controversy there, and I know it's tradition and stuff, but not for me. Not for me. I went to another festival.
Yeah, it's not for me either, but that seems to be like the number one thing they enjoy over there.
Yeah, especially Madrid, in the capital. Yeah, definitely. But I went to other festivals that were very food-based and drink-based, let's say. There's a lot of those kind of party, lots of music, festival things going on. Yeah, so that was fun. And then I ended up getting a job offer in Italy. So ideally, you know, I could actually live with my then boyfriend, and because, you know, had a bit of money saved from working in Spain and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, finally moved to Italy, and we lived near Turin, Torino, kind of northwest. Lived there for 2 years, and then we moved to the east near Venice. We lived in Verona for 2 years.
How far is that from Rome?
Oh, Rome is about 4-hour drive, I would say. Or no, was that the train? 4 hour by train, Verona to Rome, I think it was. Yeah. Have been to Rome because I had to renew my passport, so I had to go to Rome. Very, very chaotic. Beautiful city, but very chaotic.
Oh, I believe it, especially when anything that involves the Vatican.
Yeah, I didn't get to really go there. Just kind of saw all the main monuments in Rome, the amphitheater and all that, Colosseum. But yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was thinking that was where the Colosseum was at.
Yeah, it is stunning. It really is.
It's amazing it's still standing after all this time.
It is. Actually, the best one, controversial, but I really like the one in Verona because it's smaller scale. It's not thousands upon thousands of tourists, you know, like you get to see more of it. And they also actually have opera and shows and concerts in that Colosseum amphitheater, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
I am not even familiar
amazing.
with that one. The Colosseum is the only one that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And then recently, I don't remember what city it is in Italy, but recently I learned about a place called La Scala
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
because I actually wrote a story based on that one because I was
No way.
looking for a place where they had operas and everything. So I found
Yeah.
that. I like that name and looked into it. Sounds like it's got a really cool history to it. So I just used that as my.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. That honestly, if you haven't been to Italy, highly recommend Italy. The food, the people, everything is just so amazing. And the history, that they preserve so much of their history and their buildings and their art and their culture. And it's just really, really inspirational. They obviously have problems like all countries do, but on the whole, it was a really, really lovely country to live and work and kind of live and breathe that culture that they have, because it's so different to Spain, so different to England. You know, it's
That
all,
was something I wanted to. Another thing I wanted to ask you about now that I know that Spain is involved in this one is how big of a culture shock was it going from Italy to Spain, England to Spain to Italy, and then coming over here?
yeah. I would say like Spain, because it was only 6 months. It did kind of feel like an extended holiday. I was kind of getting to know what Spanish people do, how they live, what they eat, that kind of stuff. So it did kind of feel more like a holiday. And I got to learn a lot from the kids that I was teaching as well, you know, because they always have the most fascinating stories. And I just remember one child when I was like, oh, have you ever, you know, traveled anywhere else or only here? And he's like, Spain has everything. Spain has the sea, Spain has the mountains. Why do we want to leave? And I'm like, okay. So
Good point.
so yeah, it was just really interesting. And then slightly different in Italy. I think Italy have a higher standard of it's really hard to explain. It's something in Italian which is called la bella figura, which is where you have to have high expectations of yourself. So here in Chicago, if I want to go to the store, you can just wear just random pants, and you can wear your pajamas if you want to. Let's be honest. You can go shopping in your pajamas. You cannot.
If you're going to Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. It's full of people in their pajamas. It's fine.
I see those checkerboard sweatpants, torn up t-shirt, and sandals, and you just hear them flip flop.
Oh no, not the flip flop. Oh, that's one of my pet peeves. I hate flip flops. Can't stand them. I don't even own a pair of flip flops. I just can't. But yeah, so you can't do that in Italy, okay? Because you're just an eyesore. Everybody's going to be embarrassed for you if you walk around like that. So they have a very high expectation of how you dress, how you look after yourself. You know, that's kind of the la bella figura.
I believe that because I've got a strong Italian heritage myself from my mom's side of the family. So I can believe that.
Yeah. And it's nice in a way because, I mean, there is pressure, but I feel like sometimes it's good to have that pressure because you want to take care of yourself and you want to dress nicely when you go out. Like it does make you feel better and it does make you feel, I guess, more professional in a way. I don't know. yeah, there was a certain dress code for work. There's a certain way, yeah, even like the food that they eat and everything. It's they just really live and breathe the whole taking care of yourself and family and good food, good wine, good weather. Like it's a very different pace to the States and the UK. I feel like different priorities. Any Italian will tell you number one priority is food. It has to be really good
Yep,
food.
yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I learned mostly from Italy. And what a nice language, like Spanish and Italian. Absolutely love those languages. They're so rhythmic. They're so passionate. They're loud.
Well, yeah, that too. But they're also really similar too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's quite tricky because when you learn both, you do kind of mix up articles or masculine and feminine because one thing will be maybe masculine in Spanish, but it's feminine in Italian. But even though they sound similar, it's still different. And yeah, so it gets a bit confusing sometimes when you know a bit of both. But yeah, really lovely. And like the people are just so kind, so nice, both in Spain and both in Italy. Everyone was super nice, always willing to help. They would be like, oh, yes, I can speak English, even though they couldn't speak English very well. They would always try and help you, try and speak.
One thing I do know from the Italian part of me is that the people that I know, and the stories that I've heard from of Italy is that it's very much like how Southern America is. They be the nicest people. Their hospitality is second to none.
Yeah.
You do not want to piss any of them off.
Oh, no, definitely not. Like they can hold a grudge 100%.
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Do.
Yes. And also, Italians really fight hard, like in that situation. But I feel like there's always a lot of forgiveness. So even if they have these terrible fights or fallouts or whatever, and it's really dramatic and really passionate, at some point they will apologize and make up. It's also in their culture, it's religion, right? Catholicism is all about forgiveness as well. So you know, there's that part of it as well, which is interesting. And then I don't think you know, Jeremy, but after Verona, we went to Germany for 4 years. I lived in Germany, and then we came to Chicago.
I think I do remember you saying that now.
Yeah.
Because I remember you talking about all the different places that you have lived in, but you never really went into detail about them. You just I lived here. What?
Yeah. We moved to a small city town. I know it was a city. Yeah, called Bielefeld, which is, I guess, close to Hanover. So yeah, Hamburg was like right at the north top, and then Bielefeld was further down. Yeah, so that was interesting. The only thing that shocked me there was the weather. It was worse than the UK. It just was constantly cloudy and raining most of the time, which was really depressing. So I was very happy to move to Chicago, where at least you see the sun.
Yeah, you go from the rainy city to the windy city.
Yeah. So true. Yeah, but Germany was an experience. Again, it was totally different language because that's not even based in Latin. You know, it's a totally different language.
So while you would, yeah, I know it takes 14 letters just to be able to say hi in Germany or something like that. While you guys were, you said 4 years?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to go to Berlin and see where the Berlin Wall was at? And
do you know what? We didn't, because the first 2 years we were there, we were working constantly, just constantly working. We got to visit a few places like nearby, like lots and lots of little towns and villages and a few other cities. We went to Cologne, another big city, which was kind of closer and stuff. My husband went to Berlin quite a few times for work. I never got the chance to go there, but yeah, I definitely would like to go to Berlin once. Like everyone says how amazing it is, and I kind of feel sad that I kind of missed out that I didn't go, because everyone's like, oh, Berlin, like I feel like people either love it or they hate it, and usually the younger people love it and the older people hate it. So I think it depends on what stage of life you're at.
Yeah, I can understand the not liking it part because of the separation that they had.
Yeah,
Because from what I do understand is that it was brutal during
yeah,
that time. It took forever before anybody would even consider tearing down that wall.
yeah, yeah. I've been so lucky because I feel like every place where I've lived, there's always been this thread of connection with World War II. So in Spain,
Well, Germany was basically the epicenter of it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Like in Spain, it was Mussolini, wasn't it? He was in charge, and all of the stories I got about him. Oh, no, that was Italy. Sorry. It was Italy. Here was a Spanish guy. Oh my gosh. Here's a Spanish guy.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of it right offhand. But yeah, World War II, that was all
Is
over
it Stalin?
Europe.
Stalin? Is it Stalin?
Who?
Stalin?
Stalin?
No. Was it? I don't remember. Wait, I need to check this now. It's annoying me. But yeah,
Stalin?
let me check.
I thought that was a Russian guy.
Oh my God, I'm just getting all my history messed up now.
That happens to me a lot too.
Oh, Franco. Oh, bloody hell. Franco. Yeah. So there was a lot of people telling me stories about how it was under Franco during World War II. I was like, oh, okay, like got to know some really interesting stories, and moved to Italy. And then I got lots of stories about the rebellion and Mussolini and all that kind of side. A lot of parents or even grandparents of people who I was teaching English to, they all had stories about the rebellion and how they would fight in the Alps and everything like that. And then obviously moving to Germany, I get the whole story about their side of what was happening and what hardships everyone went through there, and their grandparents of the people I were teaching and stuff. So I just feel like this continuous thread was following me around, and it was all related to World War II. It was really interesting how I got to have all these stories.
Outside of Berlin, as of last I heard, there actually still is a part of the Berlin Wall that's still standing.
Yeah, you can go and visit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long did you live in Italy before you moved to Germany?
4 years.
So it seems like you're doing this 4-year skip and a hop.
I know. Yeah. Another 2 years to go, Chicago. No, I don't know. We'll see.
And you just happen to hit us in probably one of our worst political times.
I know. It is quite scary. And then I wanted to say, obviously, we were in Germany during the pandemic, so nobody could go anywhere for 2 years, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Europe got hit with a lockdown like I have never seen anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, I think, 3 lockdowns. I think it was. Yeah. It's all a bit hazy because in 2020 I was pregnant, and then I had our daughter, in 2021 in April. So she was like a proper pandemic baby. So that's all I was focused on was her. So kind of all of a blur.
Yeah, I remember hearing stories during the pandemic um, where everybody was locked down. You couldn't go anywhere for
No,
months.
no, because we're also close together in like places where I lived in Europe. It's very different here in the States because you've got so much space, so much land, and everybody seems to be quite spread out. Apart from like some cities where you obviously have like the apartment buildings and everything like that. But
Yeah, it gets a little compact, especially when you get
yeah,
to New York City.
yeah. But that's normal for us, you know, in Italy, Spain, even in Germany. You know, everybody's all together. So that was kind of the only way they could stop it, was just to have all of these massive lockdowns, because we don't have space over in Europe. Like we don't have the space that you guys have here.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah.
was one thing I did notice about some of the places over there. I'm thinking, how can you guys handle that? Because I have to have my space. I don't want to be somewhere and then turn around and, oh, there's Joe.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you're here too. Go away, go away. I
Yeah,
I'd
I get
probably buy
that.
up a whole city block just to have my own privacy.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, there's just talking about cultural things. Um one thing that really, this is funny. One thing that really shocked me in Germany is the saunas there. So when you go to a spa, when you go to a sauna, there are places where you can specifically ask to have women only or men only saunas. But honestly, 95% of the saunas there are mixed and you are completely naked. Men and women in a sauna or a steam room naked. And like, I never did that. But I was like asking people about, I was like, do you not look at people's body parts and stuff? And they're like, yeah, but it's just a body. Like, who cares? And I'm like, they would never do that in England or the States or anywhere else. Like, only in Germany can you just
I had
be
no idea
butt
anything
naked.
could be co-ed. So I thought it was
Yeah.
always either men only or women only.
No, honestly, it's all mixed and it must be so awkward. And then not only that, a lot of Germans, when they have their own gardens, they do like to sunbathe totally naked. So don't be surprised if you look out your window and there is a man or a lady just sunbathing naked in their garden.
I would almost expect to see something like that in France, not in Germany.
So France is the place I haven't experienced, so I can't say. But yeah, Germany were well up for it.
Well, France, for whatever reason, has that, at least in my mind, it has that reputation of being the most romantic country in the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I would almost expect to see that in France than I would in Germany.
yeah, yeah. That was funny. That was like one of the biggest things when I got there. I was like, oh, what? Mixed
I,
saunas?
I can see it now. I'm getting out of the sauna, all hot and sweaty, and here comes this woman, comes out. Somebody, trust me, we did not do anything. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, crazy.
so
Um,
everywhere that you went, you said that there was always like that constant reminder of World War II in some
yeah,
fashion. Now in Italy, was there ever like the the feeling that, because I know that the mafia is really big in Italy.
yeah,
I think probably more so specifically in Sicily,
yeah.
but I do know that they are all over Italy. Has there ever been a worry about that in the 4 years that you lived there?
That's a really good question. I don't want to go too much into it, but what I will say is that you never notice it when you live there. You're working, you're living, you have your friends. everything on that side of things is totally behind the scenes, and it's so ingrained and it's so deep that you don't even realize until there are signs, but you ignore it because you don't want to get involved in any of that. You totally don't. So
Or you don't, not from the stories that I've read.
yeah, I mean, North and South are very, very different. Very, very different. The South does have a lot of issues
Like
with,
two different factions.
I would say work, because the North, it's really, really focused on industry and work, and it's richer than the South because of that, because of everything. And also the weather is a bit more stable, whereas the South, most of the jobs there are like tourism because and agriculture, but then it's very, very hot down there, and it's just poorer for some reason, you know, like all of the big Italian exporters and imports that are all north. It's very, very rare that you get a really, really big company down south. So there's kind of this inequality between north and south.
I would have guessed that.
Yeah. So I guess what you're talking about is more readily ingrained and available in the South because of that and what's going on. And there's more also to do with people crossing from Morocco and Africa and coming to Italy. There's a lot of intervention going on, but I won't say much about that because it's all, what's the word?
Intertwined.
It's an operation. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot going on, but you never notice it. No.
And one final question on Italy. Did you guys get to go to Venice?
Yeah, Venice is lovely. Yeah. The only thing about Venice is I felt a bit sad because they have so much mass tourism that it does look very run down. You know, the buildings kind of need a new lease of life. They need a new lick of paint. The bridges are always full and kind of looking a bit run down. And there's nobody that actually lives in Venice. They live in like little islands off of like the main city because it's just all a tourist trap, isn't it? It's all restaurants for tourists. It's all shops for tourists. There's not actually anybody that lives there. It's just hotels and stuff. So I did feel that it was different from my expectations. I did feel a little bit sad for Venice because I felt like it would be nice to see it how it was like maybe 100 years ago, where it was really thriving. Whereas now it's just a slave. It's serving tourists. Do you know what I mean?
I think I do. Because every time I go to Las Vegas, it's like everybody that works there on the name tag, it has the state of where they came from.
Yeah.
And it's like they are only here because of the tourism.
Wow. Yeah. Same sort of thing then, really. Nobody doesn't really live there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they relocated there, but only for the purpose of being there for the tourism and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, when it becomes like that, because it kind of loses its soul, doesn't it? In a way.
And there's a lot of places like that. It's like, okay, we found this hidden gem. And now we're going to expose this hidden gem to the entire world and let them come over.
Yeah.
Now this hidden gem is more like a lump of coal by the time everybody gets done with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. Okay. So Italy's in the past. Do you have any stories from England?
Oh, yeah. What kind of stories are you after?
I don't know. I know in England. I don't know where geographically you were, but I know in England that there are so many different places out there that I would just love to see. One is Stonehenge.
Oh yes, I've been to Stonehenge. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
lovely. You can't actually get too near the stones now, I believe, because of like graffiti and wearing down of the stones and all that. But they have like a kind of picket fence, I think, so you can get really close to them. But it's not like when my parents were able to go up and touch them and all that stuff.
So that's really changed then.
Yeah.
Last I knew, you could walk right in there, be in between the stones and all of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they had to stop all that.
Now I heard a legend that there is something like a smaller kind of Stonehenge, not too far, or like a second location not too far that people think also was like Stonehenge, but the stones are not there anymore.
Yeah, I've heard that because there are a few places actually that have similar formats like that. And I think there's one in Scotland, and there might be one or even two in Ireland. I'm
Now,
not sure if there's another one in
Ireland or
the UK.
Wales? I but
Oh, Wales. Oh,
I
yeah, maybe there is one in Wales.
that
Yeah.
I've heard that the stones that are now Stonehenge were originally set up there in either Ireland or Wales. That's what I heard.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. I don't really know much about that. That
Yeah.
sounds really interesting, though. I'll just show you. So this is England here at the bottom, Scotland's up there, and then Norwich is just here. So you can see it's on the bump. That's where I'm from.
So you're right on the coast.
Yeah, it's not too far, about an hour from the coast.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Charles.
Oh, thanks, Charles. Thanks for watching.
Sorry, never did get to your question. Charles was asking if you investigate in Chicago. And
That's a really good question. So I would like to investigate, but my husband is Catholic and I'm Catholic as well. But I don't know, like he feels he has this kind of thing where, and I kind of agree in a way, but he's like, if you're talking to the dead or talking to whoever, could be, I don't know, aliens or other dimensions or whatever, he's like, why do you have to rock the boat? Like, what if that brings us like some bad karma or bad luck or something? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But I don't know. We're still thinking.
Well known that the Catholics are very, I don't want to say against the paranormal, but they're super skeptical about the paranormal.
I would say, yes, skeptical, but also they just don't want to mess in it. You know, they're just like, there must be an afterlife and there must be heaven and hell and all the rest of it. But they don't understand why, especially Italian culture. They're like, why do you want to mess in that? That's going to bring you bad luck.
I think it may have something to do with, well, one thing that I have heard, and this isn't necessarily only the Catholics, but a couple others, especially some of the more radical factions, is that if you're dealing with the paranormal, you're truly dealing with nothing but demons.
Oh, yeah.
I call wash on that one. But there's also the thing, because with the Catholics, they're the ones that control the Vaticans. They're the ones, they are the majority, the big religion on earth. And some things that we discover on our investigation kind of doesn't jive with the Catholic belief.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the reason.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've always been very open-minded, like ever since like I can tell you about my childhood if you like.
Well,
Um
yeah, I am going to guess that you had an experience of some kind.
no,
Oh,
actually. No.
damn. Okay.
No. Growing up my mum and dad, my whole family really, my grandparents are always very, very open-minded, and we always talked about mysteries and possibilities of like afterlife and all this kind of stuff. My dad was very into aliens, so he had a lot of books, and we watched a lot of documentaries on
Does he watch
UFOs.
this?
Yes, ancient aliens. Yes. One of the first books I read when I was like 8 or 9 years old was Chariot of the Gods.
Yes, that
Yeah,
changed everything.
it does. And I also went to Bible school. So that just really opened my mind. Just lots and lots of doors opened. And we've always been very open about
Okay,
different
so
possibilities.
even though you were open minded, even at that age,
Yeah.
going to Bible school, and then all of this with chariots of the gods and everything beyond that. Has there ever been an like an inner struggle with, okay, do I want to believe in this, or do I believe in this? These things don't match. Anything like that?
No, I've always just been really, really curious. I'm kind of working my way through religion. So we recently went to Japan a few weeks ago, so I got to experience Buddhism and Shintoism.
Is that going
Yeah,
to be your next destination after you leave here?
oh, that would be amazing if we could, but I don't know about that. That would be great though.
That would be another major cultural shock for
Oh
sure.
yes, definitely, because I do not fit the bill in Japan. No way. So neither of us really, because my husband is Italian, but he, to look at him, he's Sri Lankan. So he was born in Sri Lanka, but he's lived his whole life, childhood, everything in Italy, and he only speaks Italian and English, of course, but not any other language. So yeah, it's an interesting mix. If we rock up and live in Japan, they're going to be like, "What? These foreigners?"
Well, now instead of all the pasta you can eat, it'll be all the rice you can eat.
Yeah, rice and noodles. Yeah,
Stay away from the sushi.
yeah, I'm not a fan. There's a lot of sea urchins and octopus. Not a fan.
Yeah, I can imagine trying to eat octopus, especially after what I saw in this, because they
Oh,
the person here.
well, octopuses are actually classified as alien because their DNA, they can't match it with anything else on the planet.
It said on the show, and I just watched this last night, that the human DNA is like 25,000 genetic markers,
Yeah.
whereas the octopus has over 50,000 genetic markers. And plus, they have uh, like 9 hearts and 3 brains,
Yeah.
something like that.
Like how, yeah, they're
And
so
it's not
interesting.
centralized like our brains being here and our hearts being here is not centralized in the octopus. It's all over their bodies, into their tentacles and all of that. And
Yeah.
plus, no matter how big they are, they can fit in the tiniest of places.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. They're so interesting, and they're super intelligent. I don't know if you've seen videos of there's the famous one with an octopus, and it will just smack a fish in the face just for fun. Like they,
Yeah, but I believe it.
yeah,
I remember reading somewhere, I might have even been on this show, that if there was ever a time that humans would become extinct, that the octopus would be most likely to be the dominant
Mm,
species on Earth.
I believe that. Yeah, especially because they're water based as well. Yeah, really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so I kind of grew up with that kind of mindset. My parents, my mum especially, she worked in a nursing home, and the nursing home in our village was Edwardian. And I remember going there as a kid because sometimes she would have to take me with her just for like an hour, to cross over. So my dad would pick me up because he was working or I was going somewhere or doing something. And that place, that had a vibe, that place, that was so creepy. And the stories that my mum and her colleagues would come out with, just from the patients, from sort of paranormal type things. And yeah, that place was insane.
Nursing homes, that's those are like hot spots.
Yeah,
It's the same as hospitals.
I believe it. And this place, so this place is the Macintosh Manor. So it was this huge manor house, Edwardian, and you would go up this really dark path for half a mile, and then it would be there in the middle of nowhere in the forest. Um, it was so creepy. But there were so many ghost stories in our village because our village is like super old and lots of old houses. So naturally, there were a lot of ghost stories
Charles
around the village.
McIntosh.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that is the one of Norwich, right?
I just put down Macintosh Manor, England.
You can type in this one and you should find it because that's the village of Brook. Beautiful place, but it had some vibes.
Well, to be quite honest, every place that I have ever seen that's anywhere in England has always been beautiful because even as old as they are, somehow
Mm,
they hold on to that charm.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So we had the village shop growing up. So my dad and my mum as well, when she wasn't nursing, she and him both ran the village shop. So the shop was on the bottom. It was just your average convenience store, grocery store, whatever you want to call it, and we lived above. And that was always um, a very, very happy place to be, I felt, because there was always people coming in, buying stuff. We were always very social. Only at night, it was a little bit eerie. But I think it's because it had all that energy going in throughout the day. And then at night, it kind of winds down, doesn't it? But that was an old building. I think it was early 1900s.
Yeah, I found it, the Brook House Care Home,
Yeah, that's the one.
stately home of Eric McIntosh,
Oh, Eric. Okay.
founder of Macintosh Chocolate Empire.
Yeah, he was. Oh
So
gosh.
chocolatier or chocolatier, whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A chocolatier.
Okay, I gotta look into that one because I love me some chocolate.
Yeah. What was the chocolate factory? There was a huge one there.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Apparently, Rolo's was manufactured in 1937 in Norwich. Rolo's.
I have never had a Rolo.
Unlocked.
Yeah, I've had many different kinds of chocolates, but Rolo was not one of them.
Oh, well, now
I
you
don't.
have to get one.
Well, there might be a reason. I don't know. There are certain things that I just don't like in my candy.
Mm,
One of them is almonds. I don't like almonds. Peanuts, I do.
yeah, Rolo's are just caramel, like a caramel, and
Okay, that's another reason I am not a caramel fan.
get
Except
sticky.
for yes, except for the kinds that's in the Twix. Those are not bad.
Mm,
So that's probably why I never had a Rolo, because I don't like caramel.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was always a lot of ghost stories growing up. My neighbor, she had a honestly like the most beautiful house I've ever seen. And it used to be a finishing school for girls. And this house was just incredible. But they did have a resident ghost, she said. It was one of the teachers, I think, a lady, a very, very young lady that was often seen in their house. So yeah, that was interesting. I actually babysat there a few times and I did feel very uncomfortable. Just felt
Did they
like
ever say what she was wearing?
it was very Victorian dress. She had like the most amazing, like frilly, what's the word, turtleneck thing, and then it would be like the full-on dress and a bonnet. I think she said.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the word because I actually had to look that up on one of my stories, so I know what to write down.
Hmm.
I know what you're talking about. It's like a the word tassel keeps coming to mind, but that's not the right one.
Yeah, it was kind of like lace, lots of frilly, really like lace finishing, and
Something that you would see on a clown's outfit.
yeah,
That
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Not sure if it's Victorian or Edwardian, but yeah, that kind of vibe era.
Either one. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, because one of our other neighbors, he went to their house, and honestly, he was terrified and he was really scared telling us the story. But he was like, said to the girl that lived there, he was like, I was there yesterday and I was banging on your window, on the kitchen window, and you didn't say anything. You weren't looking at me. What were you doing? I was sitting at the kitchen table. And she was like, I wasn't even there yesterday. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you were. You were sitting there in some kind of like weird dress thing going on. And she was like, that wasn't me. So yeah, that was weird.
Okay, so even though you haven't had an experience per se, you were
No,
exposed.
I was exposed to a lot of ghost and ghost stories. There was the road that we lived on, there was supposed to be a ghost bike that went past. And one of the people I babysat for, he had actually seen the ghost bike. And he said that was terrifying.
And I still have that on my to-do list for the short.
Ah, yeah, the ghost bike. Yeah, that was creepy. And then there was an area of woodland where there was said to have been a plane crash because there were so many reports of people hearing screams in the woods and the sound of like an engine. So it was just stuff like that, that hearsay. And
Did you ever do any research to see if there was a plane crash?
they did find parts of a plane in there. Yeah, some teenagers went in and they uncovered parts of a plane.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was weird. And yeah, just as I got older and I started babysitting in these houses, old farmhouses, like most of these houses in this village were 1700s, 1800s, if not even earlier than that. So there were some houses where I felt really comfortable and I loved being there. And it wasn't just the family or the kids, it was the actual like atmosphere in there was just so nice. I was like, oh, I could totally live here. Like this is such a nice vibe. And then there were other houses I went into and I couldn't explain why. I just felt so uneasy. Like somebody was going to break in or there would be somebody in the next room or I was being watched or yeah, it was just really
It's a sort of
uncanny.
like an anxiety thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, why am I so stressed? Like I remember this one house, it was a coach house. The mansion house had been knocked down And this was the original coach house where they kept the stables and all of the carriages and everything had been converted into this beautiful house. And the two girls were in bed. They were all fine. They were all snuggled up in bed. I was like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs now. And I would not go in any other room apart from the kitchen. I was like, I'm just going to stay here because I feel most comfortable just here. So, yeah, it's just so weird how you can feel like that. Yeah. Really hard to explain. So I love houses and I love getting to know people and different cultures. Like I just feel so fortunate that I feel like I've lived many lives, not just one so far,
You know, this explains a lot of you've noticed that we haven't had very many comments showing up here.
Yeah.
That's because everybody has been chatting on my profile. And yeah, because I'm streaming onto my profile on Facebook, and I just happen to take a look here, and we got like 40 comments.
Oh no, you have to tell me, what are they?
One of them is talking about naked horticulture. Watch what you snip. Talking about your little sauna thing back there in Germany. Nick asked the question. Okay, now finally somebody came onto the network page. Thank you, Tom. At least
hello, Tom.
Where to go. Nick was asking. This is going back to Venice, Italy. He was asking about: is it true that Venice is actually sinking?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, they have a lot of issue with the structure underwater and also the level of water. And it also stinks. Nobody tells you that. It does stink of stale water.
Okay. Those of you guys that are on my page, get off of there. Get onto the network page so that we can actually see your comments.
Yeah, I'd love to see them.
Yeah, because here I am thinking nobody's watching the show, but I see a good number on here. Get on the network page. Chat there.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, go and check out This Is Tom's World on YouTube, just for Tom.
Yeah. Captain Birds, the 13th. What about the 14th? There is no 14th dimension. Okay, let's see here. History. Oh, Tom was watching on my page too. I'm glad he switched over. Let's see. Robert White, the one from Australia, says B-52s liked it so much they made a song about it. Rome, Rome, their song. Not that kind of Rome. Let's see. Standard of fashion. Not really sure what he's talking about there. Something about World War One. Oh, Nick was also asking, did you live in the Netherlands too at one point?
My sister lives in the Netherlands, so I've been going to the Netherlands ever since I was 8, like every year. So I do consider the Netherlands, there's a piece of my heart there because like my sister's there and I've got family there, and we always I'm going there October, for example. So yeah, I love it there. It's a lovely country.
Thomas came onto my profile on personal profiles. Don't make it a StreamYard.
I just seen a comment.
Chris Binder mentioned sushi.
Oh, hi, Chris.
We already covered that. Oh, Chris said he's moving to Germany. Okay, yeah, he's moving. He can take part of the
sauna.
The saunas.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, Germany was interesting. They don't have the best fashion though. I much preferred the Italian fashion than the German fashion. There was a lot of yellow in Germany. I don't really wear yellow.
Well, in Italy, like I said before, it's just they just like you when you were talking about the atmosphere and everything up there in England and all,
Yeah.
there's something about the atmosphere in Italy. For me, even though
Mm,
I've never been there, I can sense it through the pictures.
yeah, I think so. I mean, some people go to Italy and they have like different expectations. I think I think Italy is just so nice, but they also like to have respect as well. So like trying in Italian, um, being dressed well, and trying just being like communicative and chatty and stuff. That's all like really really appreciated. Um, and they also like it when you compliment them and their food, of course, because everybody loves when you give them something. It is nice to compliment and
Yeah, it's nice to get compliments, but at the same time, again, you do not want to piss off an Italian.
no. Yeah, they're quite scary when they get angry.
Can be, and they're also, well, we are also the kind of people that you are not going to. Well, I'm not going to say you're not going to win an argument, but it's you're going to earn it.
Yeah, that's so true. One of the things I just remembered, that you don't get the same acknowledgement in other countries is that when I was walking around in Italy, just going from like lesson to lesson, place to place, there would always be a guy and he would always shout, like it was always just one guy and he'd be like, "Ciao Bella," like just from a mile away. And I'd be like, "Oh, thanks." Like everywhere. Like at the time I thought it was really annoying and it was really kind of sexist and all that. But then when I moved to Germany and nobody said it, I just kind of was like, oh, like no,
That's it.
nobody's saying like, oh, you look beautiful today, or yeah, how's that?
And also there in Italian is like every other person is doing this when they're speaking.
Oh yeah, like sign language, like all of the gestures. That's
Yeah,
90% of Italian are the gestures.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're either doing this or some of them may have a rolling pin in their hands and they're ready to. Okay, look, so let's. Okay, I know we're at an hour already. Kind of okay.
Oh, no worries. No, fire away. No problem.
So so now you guys come to America.
Yes.
Um, so
I just had the Team America in my head then. America.
so would it be safe to guess that you and your husband got married in Italy, right?
We did, yes.
Okay. So I am going to guess that these treks that you guys have been doing has all been a part of his job. You moved to Germany for his job, and now you have moved to America for his job.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're here on visas. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
How much warning or how much notice are you guys given before you move from country to country?
I would say it can be anywhere between 6 months to a year.
Okay, so plenty of time.
Yeah, definitely. I think the hardest move was actually coming here. It took us, we wanted to move within about 3 months, but because of all of the paperwork and all of the hoops you've got to jump through, it took us 10 months to get here because of all the stuff that you have to do.
Okay, now I gotta say, I actually find that kind of surprising because it seems like America is the easiest country to get into compared
Oh,
to
no.
places.
Nope, it is not. There's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of interviews. I think we had 3 sets of interviews. Yeah, lots of passport photos, lots of embassies because we were not in our native country. We were in Germany, so we had to travel a lot to Frankfurt to go to the embassies and everything. So, yeah, it was not easy.
Oh, hold on a second. Nick, get off my page and come to the network page so that we can see your comments.
Oh, I love Tom's comment. Thank you, Tom. That's very kind. And yeah, that is now stuck in my head. Thank you so much.
So you had to go through all of these interviews and everything.
Yes.
What was there a time where you were thinking, okay, maybe we are not going to be able to?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We were so worried that we would pay all that money, because you need to pay for the application and everything, and it wouldn't go through for some reason. And then you have to try again and you have to pay again because you don't get that money back. Nope.
Now Nick has shown up. Nick, I told you 10 minutes ago you were on the wrong page.
Yeah. But no, we were lucky. Like we had a lot of support and yeah, with the whole process and everything. And the embassies were very good. You know, once you go to the embassies, they do really help you and sort it all out. I think it was just even harder because our daughter, she was only 1, so that was also hard because we're kind of in limbo. And there was a point where we sent our stuff and it was held somewhere in Europe ready to be shipped to the States, and we were without our stuff for a year. So we were kind of like camping, you know, kind of like camping style for a year. But it was fine. It like not complaining at all, but it was just, I just couldn't believe how long it took to get here, you know, like doing it properly. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, because it was so hard to get in here properly, because we have a lot of people getting in here improperly, and it seems like they get in here undetected, and it's like they'll be at the entire world when they get in here. But you guys are trying to get in here legitimately, and we're trying to keep you out.
Yeah, it was a long process. It probably would have been quicker to do it the other way.
So is there like a like a timeline? Like, is there an expiration as to how long you guys are able to stay here, or is that just all depends on his job?
I think it depends on the job, definitely. Obviously, our visas are going to run out at some point, but then you just renew them again. I think it would take a lot for us to agree to like stay here and get the green card and even citizenship. You know, that's like a whole other system, you know. So
I actually have a friend who came here from Brazil, and
right.
it took her not quite 10 years to become an American citizen, but I remember her talking about it, and it was a bitch.
I can imagine. I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when everything was all said and done, she was so proud of herself and so happy to finally be able to call herself an American citizen.
That's such a nice ending, like a happy ending. That's what
it was for her, but the process, like you said, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, and it's just so expensive as well. You know, it's a lot. It's a gamble because you don't know if you're gonna get it or not. So yeah, like I've heard stories about citizenships and cards and all the rest of it, and it's some people have had to apply 10, 12 times for it, and it's crazy. So yeah.
At that point, you know what? Just deport me.
Yeah.
You mentioned green card and visa. Now, I know there's a difference, but I have never really looked into what really is the difference, because I know you have to have a green card in order to be able to be able to do the work, but at the same time you can still work using just a visa. So what really is the difference between a green card and a visa?
From what I understand, with the visa, it's condition. So a certain company will hire you, and it's on a visa basis. So if you left the company for any reason, you have 3 months to leave the States because you have no business being here. If you have the green card, then if you ever lose a job, you can just apply for another one and you don't have to leave the country because you have permission and residency to be here. Does that make sense?
It does.
Mm.
Now, what happens? Okay, let's say, what do you do? What do you do right now? You're teaching, right?
No, I'm just supporting my husband and raising our daughter at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no worry of like, okay, he's got his job now. All of a sudden, you don't.
No, it would be a massive, it would just be a massive pain, like to do that, especially with the insurances that you guys have here and everything, and all that stuff.
Don't even get started on the insurance thing here.
I would need to look into that. No, I only just do a lot of reading and making resources and stuff in my free time, because I still do love teaching, of course, but not working, just kind of working on some project stuff for me at the moment. I would like to make a book at some point as well, stuff like that. So just trying to get my shit together.
You did mention something about maybe wanting to be a book editor.
I did, yeah. So I was looking at University of Chicago because they have amazing editing courses, and I was looking specifically at medical editing because I'm super interested in that. But I just don't know if I get that qualification, because it's American. It's very specifically American editing. Can I then take that back to Europe with me? It's really expensive to do the course. Like, one thing here is your education is extortionate. Like, that's $12,000 to do that course.
Oh.
$12,000.
Wow, okay.
And
damn, that's a hell of a course.
am I going to get that back? Like, am I going to properly have to work, like, what? Yeah. So,
well, okay, on that notion there, okay, maybe it's just an American only course and you can't take a qualification like that back there. At least in this instant, it's something that you can do.
Yeah.
And that could possibly help you out with, whatever the next place you go to.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know.
But
I think that's the hardest thing, is not knowing how long we're staying in a place, I think. But yeah, I'll definitely think about it. But I don't have $12,000. Like,
I don't know anybody. And anybody who does have $12,000, they're not letting anybody else know, because everybody else is going to be coming after them.
Yeah, I just honestly, the money you guys have to pay for your education is insane. Insane. I honestly don't know how people do it. Send their kids to college. How they send their kids to college. And
we have some universities here too. We have both.
Okay, cool.
We have colleges. We also have what's called trade schools.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's they're all vastly different. Is just a matter of what you want to do. You determine which one to go to.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky I did university in the UK. I did take out a student loan. I paid it back. And I just feel
now
like
here in the States, when people get student loans, I've heard a lot of them are still paying on it after 20 years.
I only paid mine off last year.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It was the lot. So UK and US is much more than the UK, but still a lot to pay for. Apart from Scotland. Scotland, if you're Scottish, you don't have to pay for university in Scotland. It's free. And Italy, if you do a degree, probably end up paying €1,000 for like the whole 3 to 4 years, which is nothing.
Wow.
Same in Spain. Germany don't even pay anything. That's why I was so shocked to see in Germany, most people have a degree, a master's degree, and a PhD. And I'm like, how do you guys afford it? And they're like, because it's free. You know, that's how it should be. It should be free. Why do you have to pay so much?
Yeah, if you want to better yourself, you're going to better the world. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, I have always said that our education system is overrated.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things. Well, mainly in like in high school, they teach us a lot of things that we are never going to apply.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I saw a lot of that when I was doing teacher training. There was so much wrong with the system. I think there needs to be a radical change in how we view education. I just feel like it's so outdated. You know, this is stuff that they've been doing for like more than 50 years. And I just feel like, can you not update it? Can you not have more life skills? Can you not have more? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I had actually learned more about life after getting out of high school.
Yeah.
But that's really just how it is. They try to prepare you for it, but they're not going to prepare you for the unpredictableness of life after high school.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, just basic stuff, learning how to look after yourself, using a washing machine, or how to clean stuff properly. You know, that's an art, knowing what cleaning product to use and how to defrost your freezer. You know, it's stuff like that a lot of kids don't have the privilege, let's say, of parents helping them with that stuff, you know? So,
well, parents should be teaching them how to do stuff like that.
Sure.
But I don't know how it was when you were in school, but when I was in school, we did have home economics.
Oh, we never had that. No.
So we were taught how to like operate a stove.
Oh, that's cool.
Things like that. We made our own thing. I taught my mom how to make a deep dish pizza when I was 8 years old.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, we should have home economics again. That would be so handy.
Yeah, and we also learned how to sew. I have since forgotten how to do that. But yeah, we had a home economics where, you know, it wasn't anything extravagant. It was just basic stuff.
Yeah.
How to operate the stuff in the house, even though technically your parents should be teaching you that in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I was teacher training, there was a shift in the government, the Minister of Education, and that's when he announced that music, art, and drama were going to take a back seat in education, and jobs were cut massively. So there wasn't even many jobs going for like music teachers in schools anymore as like a subject. And I just thought, how sad is that they focus on English, math, and science and not the arts? You know,
it is sad because when you look at our past, what do you know more of than anything else?
Yeah.
You know, the arts, like back in the Renaissance area, when Leonardo was his paintings, Picasso paintings.
And music defines an era, a decade, you know? So
it really does. And it goes all the way back. We know the name Beethoven, we know the name Bach, and all of those people. But are we going to know who was the teacher back then? We don't. But at the same time, those teachers did help the kids then, and it just.
I know. Yeah.
It should be interwoven. It should not be separated like, okay, arts don't matter because art does matter. We need our creativity.
I agree. And even if you're not academically gifted in math, science, even English, you can be so talented and gifted in music, art, and drama, and having that taken away from you, it's just not fair. Everybody is unique. Everybody is different. We all have things that we're good at and things that we're not good at. And I just didn't understand that concept of just taking things away because they wanted to focus on the core skills or whatever. But yeah, I just didn't understand that at all. It's like, right, I'm moving to Spain.
I don't remember who it was. I don't even remember which part of the arts it was, whether if it was music or writing or whatever. But I remember somebody long time ago that if you take away my music, you might as well just kill me.
Yeah.
I remember somebody said that a long, long time ago, and I can't even remember who it was.
I just think music is so powerful. I mean, how many times have you listened to a song and you time travel? It takes you right back to a place or a time.
All the
It
time.
unlocks your memories. You get the tingles. You can even smell things. Like for me, music is such an important. It's just it's part of your life, isn't it? It's your memory. It's everything. So yeah, that's also in the paranormal field. Music is so interesting as well because how it has that effect on the brain is remarkable. It really is.
And that brain doesn't even have to be alive for the music to affect it.
Coma patients, they use music all the time to keep the brain active.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting. There's a book I read at university called Your Brain on Music, and honestly, it's fascinating how the brain works and how music just unlocks things.
I remember reading about one coma patient. This was, I don't know, 15 years ago. Somebody was in a coma for a long time, like 4 years, 5 years, something like that. Before going into a coma, this person had no musical talent at all.
Right.
Came out of this coma, all of a sudden he was able to play sonnets on the piano.
Oh my gosh, I've heard stories like that. That's insane. And also languages. Have you heard those stories where people have woken up and they're like fluent in French and they never studied French?
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the article. I don't think it was French. I think it was another language, but they were like astounded that this person, like,
But
is
one
that soul jumping? Like, did they switch? Like, you just don't know.
thing that got me the most was somebody who was autistic went into a coma. And during that time, this person's brain rewired itself. And when he came out of the coma, he was not autistic anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's remarkable. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. The brain, sometimes some of us, our brains get dumb, but the brain can do some really amazing things.
Yeah. That's the trick, right? It's keeping your brain active and using it. You got to use it or you lose it.
More or less. And Nick, if you don't read that story, you're going to lose it.
And Nick already answered the question about the Netherlands. My sister lives there, and I do go there once a year. Yeah, good question.
They have been commenting it. Okay, Chris said that he uses it, but I believe that, Chris.
Yeah.
So, okay, you came into America. Now, how big of a culture shock? I know medically it was a big shock for you guys. But aside from that, how has adjusting to being here, and also, do you both drive?
I can drive. I'm a little bit of a nervous driver. I'm going to take some lessons this year so that I feel confident again to drive. I did drive in Italy, which is you're going to think it's ridiculous because I've driven in Italy. If I can drive in Italy, I can drive anywhere because they're complete lunatics. But they're safe lunatics.
You get to New York City, those drivers I've ever seen. But no, I'm talking about because you guys are driving on opposite sides of the roads from where we are. Opposite sides of the car.
Yeah, so the UK is different. Germany, Italy is the same.
As here?
Yeah.
No.
It's only the UK and Japan that are different. I don't know about Australia. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I thought we were the only ones that was driving on the other side of the road and everybody else was on.
No, that's usually the UK.
Okay. So is that the same with the metric system?
Yeah. I really struggle here with Fahrenheit and pounds. I just don't get that because
no, I mean, what's it? I'm talking about the system where we have two sets of Allen wrenches. One's red, one's blue. The blue ones are more for what we use, and the red ones are for the other oddball measurements that are more commonly from where you guys are from.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It's one is centimeters, the other.
Oh yeah, because you use a lot of inches and feet. Yeah. Yeah, so we use centimeters usually in Italy and Germany. UK is feet and inches usually, yeah. But then for weight, we have in the UK stones. Yeah.
I never quite got that stones because we always go like 200 pounds. And then I hear over in England they say so many stones and 2 pounds. And
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get it either. It's a lot easier to say it in kilograms because it's very precise. So yeah.
Yeah.
Better in kilos.
Yeah, because we use miles, you guys use kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah, miles is the UK as well. Kilometers are definitely Italy, Germany.
Why do you guys have to be so damn difficult?
I know, it's so weird, isn't it? Yeah, so that was definitely an adjustment. I would say the biggest thing was not having the language barrier. So coming here from Germany, you kind of get used to, because you don't understand everything in that language.
Right.
I had lived so many years where I was quite very introverted because I couldn't hear what other people were talking about really. Like you only pick up like bits and pieces and that. So you kind of live a very kind of insulated life, I guess, because, you know, you kind of think in your own language and, you know, thinking about other things. Whereas coming here, I kind of listen around and I understand what people are talking about. And I'm like, oh, they're talking about this or they're talking about that. And like, it's kind of more.
Right. But I'm sure it would still be, you know, just a little difficult because there are some minute differences between British English and American English.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of funny phrases that come out and words and things.
Just about imagine how it was for your husband because he learned British English through you, and now he's got to come over here and learn a different kind of English.
Yeah, he says it's quite like every day he comes out with expressions that he's learned from work and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay.
The people up there in Chicago, I can just about imagine what they're teaching.
Yeah, so it's quite
Come in
fun.
and use that phrase on you, and you like smack him. And
Yeah, it's
I am
funny.
also sure he's coming home saying, "These damn Americans don't know what the hell they're doing." I
I
know
don't
he's done
know.
that at least once or twice.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that there is a little bit of cultural differences. Like in Germany, people work shorter hours. So they work, well, actually, they actually start really early. So they might even start work at 7 and they go home at like 4 p.m. But they are solid working constantly, like throughout those hours to get stuff done, get it all done and dusted. And then they have their like afternoon and evening, which is really precious. You cannot contact anyone. Once you go home, that's it. You switch off until the next day, which I really liked. They have a very, very strict work culture and life, work life balance, I wanted to say, in Germany. Whereas
That here,
here, I just feel like people are just running around like headless chickens half the time, and they've got so much on their plate, so much to do, so much expectation that does that make you more productive if you've got so much to do and so much to worry about? And they don't even have evenings because they're working in the evenings. And I don't
we
know.
we have all different kinds of work hours.
Yeah,
Um, there,
it's 24/7.
yeah, one place I worked at, I would work from 6 a.m. and um, we don't get off until we were done with the last part of our job.
Right,
So I would be working on motorhomes,
right. Okay.
and hi Bob, and there were days where I would get off work at 2 in the afternoon. There was one time I didn't get off until 6 at night. It's
Wow.
because we had to do, I think at that time, 11 motorhomes a day. We don't
Yeah,
go until that last one is done. It doesn't matter what time that is.
yeah. Yeah, I've got to see a lot of work life balance, work cultures, and in the like in all the countries that I've lived in. But I really think the States, it just, people just don't switch off. And that's worrying.
They make it hard for us to switch off because
Yeah,
a lot of places they do this mandatory overtime where you are given as little as 24 hours notice. Hey, we need you to come in and work this day.
right.
But I got that day off. Not anymore. You don't. You're going to be here now.
Oh
Uh,
man.
we had to worry about that at my place.
Yeah.
It's they preach a work life balance, but they certainly don't practice it.
No, no.
And a lot of America is like that, and it's because all the uppers want, they want to make that money.
Yeah.
They're not going to be doing the job. We are. So we got to
Yeah.
do all of that so they can make that money.
The other thing that really shocked me was maternity leave. I think women get 12 weeks if they're lucky,
Uh,
6 weeks.
yeah.
I was like,
It
what?
depends on the place. Some go as little as 2 weeks, and some as up to 12 weeks. I know some places over there. I just read this recently. One, I think it's in the Netherlands. They give you up to 6 months paid.
In Germany, I had a year,
Wow.
a whole year. Yeah. And
But
you need that. You
was
need
that
that
paid?
year.
Was that
Yes,
paid though?
it was I think it was like 80% was paid.
Okay. That's still good.
It's insanely good.
Yeah.
It really is. That's how it should be.
Over here, this country could give a shit.
That's awful.
Yeah.
It is.
But a lot of the problems that we have, and not to go political on this show, even though I have been talking about politics the last few shows, stay neutral. Um, a lot of the issues that we have here at this country all stems from the laws and amendments and everything that they make up there on Capitol Hill, And a
Mm.
lot of the stuff that they rule on is based on lobbyists and people from big time companies coming in. Okay, we'll give you this amount of money, just pass this law for us and this, that, and the other. And we have to suffer for it because the big wigs want to have an easier life at our expense.
Yeah, that's awful. I just think it's so important that the focus is on work-life balance and families. You know, having that 1 year of maternity leave, you need that. It's a baby. You know, your baby needs you. It's soul destroying. So I can't even imagine what women have to go through with, you know, having to work and going through it. So honestly, like I was just so shocked at the work culture here. That was one of the things where I was like, that is insane. It really is.
Over here, if you ask the bosses in the leadership, they will tell you, yeah, family's first. Family's important.
Mm,
But what they really are saying is, no, work comes first.
oh yeah, that I can really see that. I can really see that. I was also very surprised at the very quick hire and fire thing that goes on here, that people can just quit. You don't have to give any notice, which is
Well, they say that good business practice is giving a place 2 weeks notice when
mm,
leaving. But for us, if you're going to fire me, are you going to give me a 2 week notice? No, you're not.
true.
So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was definitely one of the biggest things. But everybody is super, super friendly here. Been very, very nice. It's kind of weird to be in a shop and people will just start chatting to you about anything. Because in Germany, like people really kept themselves to themselves. You know, like it was kind of hard to make friends really outside of like work or anything else. So yeah, just to be.
to all of that around here too, there are a lot of people that are super friendly. There are
Yeah,
people that are very standoffish.
yeah,
There's other people that just keep to themselves, like me. I like to keep to myself. I am.
yeah.
Most people will tell you that I am a people person. I don't think I am.
No, introvert maybe.
I'm very introverted.
You're a writer, so that makes sense. You're a writer, an author.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So writers enjoy the private life,
yeah, yeah. I can see that.
but at the same time, at least for me, is I'll be out there and I'm watching people. I watch how they
Mm,
act, how they act, and I'll integrate that into whatever I'm writing. But there are those of us when you look at us like on here, oh, he must be very outgoing. Hell no, I'm not. Ask Nick. Well, actually, don't ask Nick. He'll tell you that I'm very out there. I just couldn't get out of my face, Nick.
yeah,
I had, but yeah, you're
yeah,
just going to run into all sorts of different people. You're going to
yeah. That's true.
run into not so friendly people. And in
It's
Chicago, you got a good mix of everything.
I was about to say, like, there's really melting pot of people, especially coming from where we lived in Germany. It wasn't very diverse at all. So coming here and there's like so much diversity. It's like, wow, it's really like a nice melting pot of like all different people from different backgrounds, which is super cool. And the other thing that really shocked us was the space, how big everything is. Massive cars, huge houses, huge
Did
gardens.
you say huge cars?
Yeah.
20 years ago, our vehicles are bigger than what they are, minus trucks, minus pickup trucks. But the regular sedans that we have now, I think are smaller than the ones that we had 20, 25 years ago.
I want to show you. what my dream car was in Europe, okay? And then we can compare. So
Uh-oh.
this was my dream car in Europe,
Oh, shit.
a smart car.
You
So
don't even
coming here,
You
I
don't
was-
even have a back seat in that one.
it looks like a pencil sharpener compared to the cars here.
Actually, it does. No, that looks like we have a car here that's similar to that, but it's a little bit bigger than that. Help me out here, Nick. Kia?
Oh yeah, it could be a Kia. Yeah, I have seen a few and they look really tiny compared to.
My dad used to say, okay, that car looks like somebody.
Yeah, Mini. I love Minis, Chris.
Yeah. Like my car right now in the back seat, when you look at it, looks like you have that much room for your niece. The first car, the second car, or actually the first and second car that I've ever had when I got out of high school, you had about this much room for your knees in the back seat. The
Yeah.
older cars, you had so much room in that back seat.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah, they've
you sit
changed.
there and not be all scrunched up with your knees. Now it's like you have to be
Yeah.
less than 5 feet tall to be able to sit back there comfortably.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean that there are smaller cars, but in the grand scheme of things, from what we've seen, like it's just big cars, SUVs, pickups, and yeah, it's quite intimidating.
And the bad thing about these, some of the vehicles that you see in here is that they use up gas like it's nothing.
Yeah, and gas is cheaper here.
That's another thing that surprises me. I always thought that gas over there. Now I know you guys sell them by the liters.
Yes, and
Which
it's
is-
much more expensive
Yeah,
than
a
here.
lot different from our gallon. So I bet that was a big adjustment for you guys as well.
Yeah, it was very surprising. I have to say though, grocery shopping in the US is extortionate. Like what you pay for groceries here. I understand that you have bigger containers and you have like multi-packs, like there's more kind of bulk buying. But
You especially get that at stores like Sam's Club and Costco.
yeah.
Yeah, those stores are more specifically for that.
Yeah, sure. Like we have Jewel Osco here and, you know, Walmart even and stuff like that, but it's still expensive. You know, coming from Germany, we were like, wow, didn't realize the US was so expensive for groceries. So
30 years ago, we could take a regular shopping cart and fill it up for $20.
definitely you get like 2 things now for $20, maybe 3 if you're lucky.
Sometimes one thing, depending on what it is.
And Starbucks, honestly, how expensive is Starbucks?
I wouldn't know because I don't go there because I know how expensive it is.
It's ridiculous. It's not even good coffee. It's like, what? Yeah.
You don't want to say that to Eileen, I'll tell you that for sure. She loves her Starbucks, that woman does.
I don't get the hype. And the other thing was the convenience culture here. I was really shocked to see plastic bags because they cut plastic bags in Italy, Germany, Netherlands, UK. You have to pay for plastic bags there.
They actually just started that recently.
Oh, really?
Yes, California and Colorado Colorado just this year. California, I don't know. It's recent, I know that. Get on plastic bags or you have to buy them.
Right, I see.
And
Yeah.
because of those 2 states, some of the other states are going to fall in line.
But this was like 10 years ago that we stopped plastic bags.
Oh, okay.
10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And like recycling.
That's right. Yeah, Chris corrected me. They banned plastic bags. Now they got these. They're kind of like plastic bags, but
Are they like bags for life? So they last
Yes.
a long time. Yeah.
Use those bags, and those bags, I forget how much they cost because Adrian was telling me about them.
Yeah, and you just reuse them, like reusable bags, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
we went to the Walmart there in her town. We stayed in the car while her husband went in. He was only going to get a couple things, and I was watching the people as they were coming out. I'm thinking, Adrian, did you guys get rid of plastic bags, or did this store get rid of them? She said, oh yeah, this state banned them because everybody was coming out with all of their little items spread out in the cart.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, where are your bags? So I'm guessing those people are the ones that, you should be more for bags.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And definitely, it was really funny the first time we went grocery shopping, and there's people packing your bags for you.
You didn't have that back there?
No, you do it yourself.
Oh, no, that's a common thing.
So weird.
Wow. Okay. No, that's common here. They would have baggers.
That's just I just feel really awkward because then I just stand there and just watch them pack my bag. It's like I can do that. Yeah, I just feel really awkward.
Most of our places they bag them for you. Now, do you have Nick may be able to answer this? If you have a store called Aldi's?
Yeah, I've got one over the road. Now that's German, you see. Now that's the German way. They scan it through and you have to throw it in your bag as quickly as you can and get out. That's the German way.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, okay. Yeah. That is a German store. I forgot about that. Okay, so you do know about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know of any other store that does it like that.
No, I think Aldi is like the only one. And also the bag thing, because they have bags for life and you bring your own bag usually, or you just take a box. Like you can use a box to,
Yeah, it gets that way. But at the same time, honestly, by getting rid of the plastic bags would be better for the environment.
Oh, 100%. I was shocked at how much trash is generated here. Just single-use plastics.
Have you been outside of Chicago since you guys came to the States?
Not yet. We hope to go to Minnesota because I have my auntie and my cousins that live in Minnesota. And I would absolutely love to visit Alaska because I've always wanted to go to Alaska. But that's it.
So whenever you guys do decide to go on a road trip, even if it's just the next town over, but actually get out of Chicago, get on the stage, just watch along the roads, the shoulders and everything. You're going to see how much trash is really out there.
Oh no, fly tipping is a thing, isn't it? Like,
well, every now and then you'll see like little plastic bags filled in. And a lot of the prison programs is that they take the prisoners out there and they go out and use little sticks with the spikes on and pick up all this trash and throw them into the bag.
Bad.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah. What do you think the answer is? Is it recycling? Is it more trash cans? I don't know. What's the answer? Is it culture?
Well, parenting would be my answer, because a lot of people they just throw their trash out the windows in the cars. It's nothing for people when they're smoking. They just flick it right out the car. They don't even bother putting it in a little ashtray that is available in your vehicle.
That's so bad.
I remember, I'll never forget this. I remember one time I was at a stoplight. Windows are down, and the woman next to me, she was in one of the bigger SUVs. She had unwrapped her little cigarette box.
Yeah.
Took the plastic, that clear plastic, tossed it out of her car over top of her vehicle. and the wind carried it into my car.
No.
Yeah. And before I even had a chance to say anything, the light had turned green and off she went.
Oh, it's just sickening, isn't it? What is wrong with people?
It is. I have seen people toss things out. Actually, even when you're in Chicago, you're going to see trash on the road. You're going to see
Yeah.
trash on the sidewalk. You're going to see it everywhere.
It's just such a shame. It really is. Chicago downtown, I was actually really surprised at how clean it is, though. Downtown, it is pretty clean. I don't know about the suburbs, like South Side or whatever. But yeah, I just like in Japan, when we were there, that is the cleanest place I have ever seen in my life. No trash anywhere. They don't even have trash cans. People bring their rubbish, their trash home with them. And I totally agree. That's how it should be. You are responsible for the planet.
I believe it, but the Japanese they have that thing of respect
Yes.
drilled into them.
Yeah. Ever since school. They don't even have cleaners at school. They might have just one or two cleaners, but the kids do most of the cleaning up after class.
Yeah, not here in America.
No.
We are a bunch of spoiled little brats.
I mean, that is how you learn respect, by doing something yourself
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I'm going to be honest, and yes, I know this is my country, but I have said it time and time again that there are certain instances where I look at what's going on with our country, and I'm ashamed to be an American. I
Yeah.
really am, because I know how my mom and dad raised me. I see how people out there. That's not
Mm,
how I was raised back then. But
yeah.
today's society, it's so sad.
It really is. It really is.
And I know Tom's got a few years on me. I'm sure he can back me up on this. That the way that people are being raised now was not how we were raised back then.
I mean, he sees it at the parks, doesn't he? Like he always does all the trash that accumulates in the park because people
Yeah.
don't care.
So he would see that more than we would.
Yeah. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's just really bad. So, it. You came here at in the midst of one of our worst political times.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris has got a few years on me as well, and he sees it. But it's just that I am so ashamed of what our country has turned into.
Yeah. There might be a way to, the future. You never know. Every country has their issues and their problems. There's always something that's wrong and that you wish you could change. But yeah, I guess it's just keeping to your immediate self and your immediate family and just doing the best that you can and hope that it's an example to others.
That's pretty much what I do. And normally I never talk about anything political, but sometimes I just can't help shut. Get
I know.
breaking point. Normally you would never hear me saying anything. But in certain instances, I have to speak up.
Yeah, no, totally. I think one of the things I've also noticed here much more than even in Germany is the use of TikTok. That's really, really blown up here, hasn't it, in the States, how many people are obsessed with TikTok.
You know what? I also have TikTok. I've got the app right here on my phone.
Right.
But I almost never look at it until, it's time for me to go to bed, and then I'll look at it for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just worried about kids. I see so many kids constantly on their phones, much more than I've seen in any other country. They're just constantly on their phones, and that scares me. That really does.
Welcome to the American zombie apocalypse. relationships.
Yeah.
That's basically what we've turned into. Technology is a great thing. Technology is great.
It's,
It has helped us in terms of being able to accomplish this and that, and
yeah,
also
connecting.
yes, connecting, staying connected. Although I'm still bad about that. I was talking about that last night. I'm terrible at staying in touch with people.
Sure.
At the same time, the very thing that's helping us staying connected is also the same thing that is driving a wedge in between us and friendships and family, because now people using social media, they can go and say, you know, this person is very, very fat. He needs to do something to himself, or, something like that. And
Yeah.
not have to worry about the consequences. Whereas 30 years ago, if somebody would have said that, they'd get a fist in the face.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lack of responsibility and care with words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%.
people have turned into keyboard warriors,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that every country is the same too.
yeah. And I agree. I agree with Tom. Like, it is the media. I
Yeah.
have seen
Yep.
so many different versions of the same story, because on my phone I read news from England, I read news from Italy. A few weeks ago, I was reading the news from a Japanese perspective, and I get the news here in the States. And honestly, it scares me at how different the facts are. Are they even facts? I don't know. Like, there's so many different perspectives.
The thing is, they're going to present everything as fact as long as we follow what they want us to believe.
It's actually terrifying. Yeah, and definitely in Asia, they would say things that would never be said in Europe, and also with the States, like England will say stuff about the States that they would never say here. So it's also very interesting to see what is allowed to be presented in the media and what isn't.
Well, there's like China, for instance, they ban things from everywhere because
Yeah,
they want
it's
us
controlled. It's
influence.
all controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I can
Same with
see that.
Russia. I think Russia's controlled as well. Media, is it Russian state media? I can't remember. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I know China is, because they are very strict with all kinds of media. They're very strict about what American movies are shown in China.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is a bad thing, but at the same time, it could be a good thing if it was done properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's okay, yeah, like Nick said, Facebook is banned in China, Russia, North Korea, and Iraq. I knew China,
Mm,
sure.
I think they should ban TikTok. Like, that's just a catastrophe, that is.
Well, from what I've been reading, it might actually become banned by the end of the year.
Okay. Oh, that's promising then.
I know that, and they're trying to do something in Capitol Hill about it. I don't know exactly. I
Yeah.
remember, and ironically, I see these videos in TikTok, where the guys in Washington were actually talking to the CEO of TikTok,
Okay.
who
Yeah.
who is originally from Singapore,
Oh,
trying their
interesting.
hardest to tie him to the Chinese government. And he says, no, I have only lived in Singapore. I have only been a part of the Singapore army. I have nothing to do with the Chinese government.
Mm,
But whoever it was that is talking to him, so you're saying you've never been part of China, whatever. And he said, no, no, no.
that's interesting. I'll have to read about that. Yeah.
It's interesting, but at the same time, the people that we have in capital are such idiots. We need a 100% turnover.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same in the UK at the moment. We've had a big shift in government. It's now Labour instead of Conservative. And, you know, I just feel like so many things are just going wrong in the world. And it's just such a shame to see so much violence, so much hate. It would just be so nice just to go back to a moment of peace and calm and love. You know, like, why is there so much hate and violence? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Unless there is something going wrong with the world, nobody's going to be happy about it.
Mm,
That's the thing. People on Earth, not just in America, but everywhere, thrive on other people suffering.
yeah, we are constantly being divided. That's very true, Tom.
Yeah.
But there's hope for aliens, right? Because that got taken to Congress about OAPs.
Well, the thing is, when they come here and they say, "Take me to your leaders," trust me, you do not want to see our leaders. Yeah, we will take you to our leaders if you'll take them out or something like that. Me, I would say, no, screw taking you to our leaders. Please take me away with
I
you.
was about to say, I'd just be like, no, let's go.
Yeah. And it almost does seem like we are kind of headed in that way because America has been supposedly declassifying a lot of UFO documents and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I was looking at some documents also in Germany. They had quite a few documentations of OAPs and UFO stuff. Would have been UFO back then. But yeah, that's very interesting. And they always seem to appear near military bases as well, which is interesting. So I'm wondering, you just don't know, is it legit UFOs or is it military stuff? You just don't know because we only, you know, we're not in the military. We don't have all access to that information.
Yeah, but at the same time, we got to worry about the information that the government is giving to us because how can we verify that this is actually legitimate stuff that they're giving us? Because there have been numerous times, and it's been proven in the past that the government has given us misinformation to point us in a different direction while they're focusing on this.
Well, look at Brexit. That was a total disaster thanks to the media.
I remember the Brexit thing. I don't remember the particulars about it. I just remember that it got bad, and I had actually started wondering if there was going to be, action.
It was just a web of lies that came out of a certain side of leaders who were very pro Brexit, and they were just ridiculous claims, but people believed it. They believed that we would be better off outside of the EU, outside of rules and legislations, outside of imports and exports. They really, really believed that the UK could be its own thing and like how it was before World War II, apparently.
Okay, now
yeah.
on not exactly on the subject of Brexit, but it does bring up something that a video that I watched last night that was explaining the difference between, just England,
Yeah.
the British Isles, Great Britain,
Yeah.
the United Kingdom,
Yeah.
the European Commonwealth.
Yeah.
How in the hell do you guys keep all that straight?
It's quite a lot to remember. I agree, because you've also got Northern Ireland in the mix, as well as Scotland, Wales, England. Yeah, it's
Just,
big, you know.
just be either one thing or just all be just your separate countries.
Yeah, you got to think of it as like states, I guess. Like states are so different, and that countries for us. Like it makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh wow, you're from Europe," as if like Europe's a country, and it's like it's a continent. Like
Yeah.
there are many
The
countries in
education
Europe.
system on some people here, Europe is a country.
No, it's not.
Some people weren't able to say that Africa was a continent.
Oh yeah,
And with Australia, it's a country and a continent.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Geography people.
I don't get why everything is okay. I get what you're saying about the United States here, but it's had always been, like Illinois is a state, Indiana's a state, but Illinois and Indiana don't make you know, some other thing. It's just the United States of America and its 50 states and
Yeah,
also 6 territories.
I
Uh,
see.
and that's it. But
Yeah.
over there with that, it's like you have your country of England that's a part of what,
The UK.
six
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah, I mean, even in England, you have regions, and every region is different in some way. You
So
know,
now the regions are that all within the country of England.
England, exactly. So because I'm from the city of Norwich, that region is Norfolk. So
Okay,
it's like
so
an area.
sort of like a state for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly. So even I know it seems tiny compared to you guys, but that's just how it is
Oh,
like in England.
I, I think there's one or two countries there in Europe, I think, that's smaller than Rhode Island. And Rhode
Yeah.
Island, smallest state.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on. And yeah, it's just crazy that, when you actually look at Europe and the countries and like how we've got all of these different languages because of the countries, and like you compare that to the States, which is bigger, and it's like we all speak American English. So yeah,
But I don't think it was intended to be that way because the original 13 colonies, they were all supposed to have been their individual countries.
that's
That,
true.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was the original thing. And then, the whole thing with the revolution, all of that. And they decided, okay, we're just going to be states with this like a country because I think some over there refer to their countries as states. Is that correct?
Yeah, Germany does.
Okay.
I mean, they have a German word, but it translates as like state instead of like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they
So,
had state.
so yeah, it's in a way, it's like we have 50 countries, which would have been what they
Mm,
intended. But when the whole war, they decided, no, we're just going to be like one big country with a whole bunch of different things.
I see.
Yeah, I'm just glad that when I'm driving cross country, I don't have to have a passport with me every time I go from one state to the other. Because I knew when you guys do that over there in Europe, you would have to do that every time you go from one to the other, right?
Yeah, you should. Like mainland Europe, you could probably get away with an ID card if you're driving, or even most flights actually. If it's mainland Europe, you can use an ID card. Because I remember in Italy, you could just use an ID card to go to different places. But yeah, like UK, definitely need your passport because it's like overseas because we're an island, so you always needed your passport. Yeah.
We used to be able to use just our regular driver's license to go down into Mexico and into Canada, but they have
Oh,
since changed that to, at least as far as I understand, they have changed that to passports.
right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think they just need more security now, don't they? It's all about having your passport and security. And yeah,
Well, with the state of the world today, I can't really say I blame them.
no, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Holy,
Yeah,
we've been at this thing for 2 hours.
I know, it doesn't even feel like it. It
No,
feels like it's been an hour.
yeah, I was planning on just going an hour, stopping at 9 o'clock so that I can go to the store. That's not going to happen now.
Oh
Um, but
no.
but yeah, it's just that the way that things are. But I just wonder how, because I've always thought, okay, Great Britain, United Kingdom, that's all the same thing, um, and that was part of the European Commonwealth, which now is no more.
Yeah,
And then the whole thing with Ireland, Northern Ireland splitting up, and some kind of controversy there. Now,
yeah, that
Northern
was
Ireland
horrendous.
is with you guys.
Which one? Northern Ireland, yeah, is
Yeah.
part of the UK. Yeah,
So I'm thinking
yeah.
it's got to be hard to keep that straight. Maybe not if you live there, but for us,
No,
it's like, okay, I'm saying United Kingdom, but I'm actually saying that incorrectly because United Kingdom has this, but Great Britain does.
mm. I think also it depends on your perspective. So if people ask me, "Oh, where are you from?" or "What's your accent?" I will just instantly say British because I like to think that we are united. England, Ireland, like Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, like the British, we're all kind of together. And I don't really like to differentiate, like, oh, I'm English.
Yeah.
Like I would prefer to say I'm British because I don't know, it's just a feeling of like unity. Um, Different story in Scotland. I'm sure if I spoke to Lois or Scott, they would definitely prefer to say I'm Scottish instead of British because Scotland has a very strong sense of identity, and rightly so, because they didn't have a choice, right? They had to be part of the United Kingdom, unfortunately, historically wise. So yeah, and then same with Wales. People would identify as Welsh, not British. So maybe it's just an English thing. Instead of saying English, say I'm British.
One thing that I have noticed is that the Welsh and the Scottish have accents so strong that sometimes it is
Oh,
very difficult to understand what they're saying.
yeah, I'd say definitely Scotland. Edinburgh is easier to understand because they're a bit more mellow with their accent. Glasgow or Glaswegian, that is probably one of the most difficult accents. And then probably as you go to like the different small islands and dialects of Scottish and mixes, like it gets even more difficult. But yeah, anywhere near Glasgow is a little bit tricky. Yeah. And Welsh is quite nice. It has this kind of bouncy melody. And they also have their own language. They have their own Gaelic Welsh language. So they're bilingual. They learn English and their native language, Welsh. So yeah, it's
Well,
quite a bouncy.
I know that for people in England with their accent, for me, it's going to depend on the person. Sometimes I can understand what they're saying, sometimes I can't. Like
Yeah.
you're one of the easier ones for me to understand. There are others where um, when they're talking, I'm straining, trying to understand because of their flow of speech.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, even England, Northern, Midlands, that like they've got such different accents. Region to region, you have different accents. Because I've been an English teacher most of my life, I just have a very standard British accent, very very just normal, I guess, received pronunciation. But if you're going to go up north to like Lancashire or Yorkshire, they're going to have some pretty tricky accents going on.
So the ones that are closer to Scotland are.
Yeah, going up, it gets more difficult.
But where you're from, aren't you pretty much right there, close to Scotland?
No, I'm right on the south on the bump. So I'm closer to London, like 2 hours away from London.
Oh, well, I'll have to take a look. I thought from what you were showing on the phone earlier, it seemed
Yeah.
like Norwich was like way up there.
No, it's just on the side, on the bump right at the bottom. Yeah. I went to university in Lancaster, right on like near the border of Scotland, and they constantly took the piss out of my accent, like constantly, because they didn't really have people from the south going up there to like be teachers and things. So yeah, the kids just ripped me to pieces, but they were funny. Like every class, it would be like, "Oh, you're right, miss. Are you from Buckingham Palace?" And I'd be like, "No, not from. I wish. I'm definitely not from Buckingham Palace." Just because I sound more like the Queen English
Yeah, if you
style.
were Buckingham Palace, you'd have about 10 million pounds to your name.
Just a bit. Yeah. So it was it was funny. Very different accents. So even in England, there's such diverse accents and defensiveness of having such an accent, and even stigma. There's a lot of stigma if you have certain accents because you are perceived to be maybe ridiculously less intelligent or less educated.
We have that here.
Really?
Yeah, we do have that here. A lot of people that have that Southern accent, or if they have like I call it an Appalachian accent.
Right.
It's more of people that live in and around the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay.
People, they are perceived to not be intelligent at all, and a lot of times it's because of the way that they talk, the way that their accent sounds. It's like, oh, well, you must be the dumbest person on the planet, when really that is not the case.
No.
But we do have that here. It's like the people with the Southern accent are perceived by the North to not be as smart.
It's fascinating, isn't it, though? Because it all stems from history, I guess. And even like the use of grammar and stuff like that. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, their use of grammar down there is quite a bit different from what we're used to up here. But that's just how they grew up.
Yeah.
And that does not mean that they are as dumb as a box of rocks. Although there are some people that do give you that impression. I'm not going to lie about that. You find that everywhere, no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, isn't it? What is perceived wrong grammar and right grammar, and how intelligence seems to be based on how you talk. It's just crazy. It really is.
The thing that I have always heard that you over there in England, when it comes to the English language, the proper use of grammar, the proper pronunciation of grammar,
Yeah.
of words, you guys do it the right way over there, whereas we do not.
So I have a few questions about pronunciation, right?
Okay.
How the hell do you guys say aluminium?
Say what?
Aluminium, the metal.
Millennium?
Aluminium. Wait, I'll write it in the chat.
Oh, aluminum.
What?
That word is actually a tongue twister for me. It's aluminum.
That is like, why do you guys say it like that? It's aluminium. It's so funny.
All I know is how I grew up with it. What gets me is that we have there where it is spelled 3, 4, 5 different ways, all with different pronunciations. We have other words where you take one word spelled the same way, but it'll have 5 different pronunciations and 5 different meanings to
Mm,
it. To the outside, to the foreigner person, the English language is damn hard to understand.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, obviously, teaching it, you kind of understand how it is easier than a lot of languages because we don't have masculine, feminine, and neutral. Like, in a lot of languages, a word will have a masculine or a feminine
Yeah, like
and stuff like that.
el and la,
Yeah,
what Spanish do.
yeah, exactly. But we don't have that. And isn't that, what's the word? Liberating, that nothing has a gender, just he, she, or it. If it's not a person, like, that's amazing. It's a lot easier.
It is going into this he, she pronouns bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, we'll leave that alone. That's for another night.
And it can get really controversial there in the chat room.
Yeah, we'll just glide over that.
But no, it has always been my understanding that the people of England pronounce words the proper way.
Yeah.
What we do. I also have heard that there is a certain accent that very few people over there have, where damn, I'm going to look him up. He was a professional wrestler. His name was Lord Alfred Hayes, and he was deemed the Oxford accent.
Oxford.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Oxford accent is traditionally regarded as the standard and most prestigious form of spoken British English.
Yeah, Oxford and Cambridge are really up there with standard received pronunciation for English, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always understood it, that over there you guys have the proper accent, pronunciation, all of that stuff. At least based off of my understanding of this.
Yeah.
We, us being Americans, we just like to twist things around.
That's true. Every state has their own twist on their accent or words, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So with that, with British English and everything, that kind of leads me to another question: is that okay? You're England, you're English, but at the same time, you're also Great Britain and you're British. Is there really a difference between British and English? Or is it just because of how you guys have your countries aligned and all of that? What really is the difference with British, English? And Nick had brought up earlier talking about the Union Jack.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, Union Jack is the union of the English, the Scottish, and the Welsh flag all in one. Okay. Yeah. So England has their own flag, Scotland has their own flag, Wales has their own flag, and if you overlap them, you will get the Union Jack. That's the unity of the three. But so I think, I don't know the technical kind of difference between English and British, but I would say it's just a matter of identity. So I would prefer to say British because I think unity is important, whereas other people would be proud and just say, oh, I'm English, from England. So Yeah, I think it's a personal preference.
Okay. I never knew that about your flags.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah, well, the Union Jack, I always thought that was the English flag.
No, it's cool. You can overlap them. Apart from the Welsh dragon isn't there, but
Okay, I didn't see the Welsh flag. I saw the English, Scottish, and Ireland.
oh, oh,
Uh,
maybe it's those three. I always thought it was the Welsh one. What we
well,
did at school.
the Welsh flag is the dragon.
Yeah. Oh, maybe because it's all white.
Not the one that I'm seeing. This one here is the top half is white, the bottom half is
Oh,
on it.
do you know what? I think it is the Northern Ireland flag.
So this is, let's see.
Yeah, Northern Ireland flag. Damn it, Beavis.
Yeah, this is the Welsh. The Welsh.
Oh no, it was it's Ireland. The cross bell tower of St. Patrick. Yeah.
Okay.
But it represents all of them. Yeah. It's a shame they didn't put Wales in then. They could have like put the dragon in there somewhere. You know?
So in a way, that's sort of like, well,
Yeah.
it's not in a way. It's because the American flag, every state has a state flag.
Right.
And then you have the American flag that represents,
With the stars on, right?
yeah, each star represents a state.
Mm,
Look at the red and the white bars. I think
yeah.
the red represents the original 13 colonies.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, or it could be the white. It's one of those two. The red or the white represent the original 13 colonies.
Mm, that's cool.
But I never knew that about the Union Jack flag. I always thought that was the English country flag
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's
it's
all
cool.
I ever see.
Yeah, I remember doing it at school. But flags are so. I think flags are so interesting because they do say, there's such a lot of representation, isn't it, of the country. Even our passports, like our passports, are always so different as well.
I see where Norwich is at now. Yeah, you're just up there at that little hump before you
Yeah.
get back in. That's where I saw what I saw. Okay.
Like you can see on our British passports, we've got a unicorn, which is the national animal of Scotland, and the lion, which is England.
The unicorn is the country animal for Scotland.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Scotland.
Only read one instance where
Yeah, it's a unicorn.
where somebody had found a horse that does look like a unicorn. I have only seen one instant of that, and that wasn't actually too long ago.
Oh, that's cool.
It was just an anomaly that a horse that has this thing sticking out.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, so I always thought that was cool, having the passport with a unicorn and a lion on it.
It actually looks more like a family crest to me.
Oh yeah, it's royal family stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit, 2.5 hours. We should probably end this show.
Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, though, Jeremy. Thank you so much.
Same here, 2.5 hours, and it just flew right by,
It really has. It's only felt like an hour, honestly.
if that.
Oh, and thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Good.
Nick.
We'll definitely have to get you back onto the show at some point, and it was great actually getting to know you and some of the adventures you had taken, and not necessarily talking about paranormal stuff, even though this is a paranormal show on Paranormal Network. But I've been trying to use this show to get to know the people in the paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, next time it would be great to be on again, and we could probably talk maybe ghost stories. I've got a few from like different countries, different experiences from people, because I've never really personally experienced anything, because I've always been very logical, and I'm just like, oh, it's this or it's that, or you just don't know. I'm very skeptical is the right word.
Well, we have been trying to get you on an investigation. It's just getting you on the right one. I had the right location for you, but right now it's kind of going through his little thing with the city where nobody knows. But we are going to eventually get you on an investigation somewhere.
Yeah, I hope so. If my husband doesn't have a heart attack at the prospect of.
Just tell him to stay home and watch over your daughters while you're going out there.
Yeah.
Just tell him that the plus side of this, he doesn't have to worry about the heart attack. You're the one that's going to get scared.
Yeah, I don't know though. I'm quite I don't know. I'm like, so I think watching stuff is different to obviously being there. But every time I watch stuff, I'm like, oh, that's a rat, or oh, that's a bird. Oh yeah, that's the wind. Like, do you know what I mean?
Also, what people need to take into account is that when you're watching a 1 hour show, that is actually spread out over the course of many, many hours. That's not all an hour.
Yeah, that's very true. So it would be really exciting to experience a proper paranormal investigation with equipment and feeling, and
you would have it if the jail was open, but unfortunately it's not right now. But there are some promises, and once they start taking bookings, we're going to get in there. We're going to get you in there.
Oh, that's exciting. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So thank you for joining us here on the 13th Dimension and for playing along. This will be the last episode of 13th Dimension for at least 2 months. And what I'm really glad about this is that this is episode number 91. So we're getting really close to that 100th episode.
That's amazing. I can't even imagine making that many. Nice one, Jeremy.
It's taken 4 years to get here. For Supernatural, it took 2 years to get here.
Wow.
So yeah, getting really, really close to 100 episodes of 13th Dimension. I'm trying to get there. So anyway, yeah, no more 13th Dimension for 2 months minimum. See what happens there. Glad to have Kate on here as the last guest before we go into. I'm trying to get the hiccups now.
Oh no, I feel lucky that I'm the last one for a few months. Thank you, Chris Birdie.
Yeah, well, I was originally thinking I wasn't going to have a show at all, but you came in here and you saved my ass.
It was meant to be.
Yep, there you go. We'll go with that. It was just meant to be. So, Kate, thank you so much for being on here. Everybody out there in the audience, no, we are not starting that birdie crap.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's a pleasure as always. Anytime.
It's definitely been a pleasure. So much fun. I cannot believe we went this long. Does not feel like it, but we had a hell of a conversation.
We certainly did.
So until next time, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Stay cool.